Hi, it's Pie, and welcome back to another Howard Half Hour. Last time I only did a 25-minute because I thought, 25 minutes would be enough to be considered a half hour. 5 minutes off, And now we are on to episode 2. And last time I talked about YouTube recommendations and how the fans of stuff are making me hate it, and I wish YouTube would show me less of the fans and more of the stuff, Anyway, let's go to another bad part of YouTube. Well, at least as much as I can discuss of it. And that, of course, is YouTube comments. I'm sure everybody knows the whole freaking shebang about they're the worst things on the internet, la la la. I understand that completely. You're right. They are one of the worst things on the internet, aside from, a lot of illegal stuff. YouTube comments are so degrading and low brain and kind of like, I forget the word for it, whenever mob mentality, is that it? Where like one guy says something and everybody else just starts like, yeah, that guy's right. That's kind of like Twitter, but it's also kind of like YouTube comment section too. Man, I can't find a YouTube video that I like and the first comment isn't something stupid. And it always is something stupid. Like, oh man, he said a funny thing at 8:10. Oh god, haha. And then there's some stuff like, imagine how people would react if this, it's just like some stupid stuff you'd hear like robots make, or maybe like unfunny moms or dads who try to make a joke about something. I hate to use the word cringe all the time when it comes to this talk show, but honestly, there's nothing better, and there's not a better word I can use to describe such stuff. It's so infuriating. Like, I'm not gonna use my own stuff as an example because I don't like using myself as an example when it comes to real YouTube degeneracy. But this is just from the, I usually get stuff for like the bots, but one of my episodes of Spooky Joe Scares Mansion forever ago had like a comment that had 200 replies. So scrolling through it, I realized that it was no offense to my commenters, I love them all, but it was like a strange fan fiction roleplay forum where people would just flip-flop between who they'd be, and and I came in jokingly, said some stuff like, it's just hilarious, and I'm so kind of like confused. Like, why would you make I know, yeah, sure, it was probably only 4 people making 200 comments. But still, though, I imagine it has to be worse to hire up YouTubers and all that. Another example in Fresh Holes of the comments is that I used to make fun of a lot of gacha videos back in the day. And oh my god, the comments, they were all like so bad. Like, I don't even, like, most of the top comments were like, if you think this video was funny. Or the worst example that I've ever found before in my life, like if you have the brown hair color too. And I was like, oh my god. No, like if you agree that this lady has brown hair. And it's like, how could you, let's just say I'm a robot. How could I ever refute that? Her hair is brown, therefore I'm always gonna like it. What sort of weird, dumb psychology is this? That reminds me of the time when I was like younger and I'd like type in first on a video and get all this hate stuff, and I was like, yeah, it doesn't matter, I made it first. But I get all this attention, I wasn't really craving it, but I get all this attention as a kid, it's like a little beneficial, it gets your head like, man, I was the first to comment on my favorite YouTuber's video, yay. And then you get all this flack for, that's not a real comment. And I still stand by that's not a real comment thing that you should do. I don't really much care for first comments. I don't even read any comments anymore unless it's like a video that's over 10 years old. Because those comments are what you gotta go for. Those are back in the glory days of YouTube, when everybody was just nothing but constant praise to the YouTuber despite how bad their content was. Or is. And nothing but like satirical troll humor and bullying and stuff like that. Those were the heydays of YouTube comments before it just became a bunch of like inconsistent, for lack of a better term, mamber jamber between everybody. everybody makes jokes how like YouTube puppy video compilations always got to have like a Holocaust denier in there somewhere. I haven't really checked the comments on puppy videos because, well, I sometimes look at it because, you know, I was like, man, I have a weakness for bloodhounds, so I click on a bloodhound video, but I never ever read the comments. That's kind of the rule one with YouTube if you ever want to enjoy it, and that is to not scroll down. Like I said, I put a threshold like at 10 years or whatever. Like if it's a 10-year-old video, then I'll start looking at the comments. Do you want to know what sucks about that though? Is that sometimes you look at 10-year-old videos, or especially if there's music videos, and you hear comments on the top like, "Remember back in 2012 where this was the stuff?" Or one of my least favorite comments that I've ever seen for a music video, and it was like, "Remember when this was playing in grocery stores all the time back in the day?" And I go like, "What grocery stores are you going to? I never heard this song in a grocery store before." And maybe, you know, he was over in Europe. I was listening to a European song, so I guess it could have been that. But anyway, like, that's what I hate. Like, uncreative comments like that. Like, somebody's playing an old game. You can have creative comments like that, like, "Oh man, I played it with my dad while we were growing up, and or with my mom, or with my older brother, or some stuff, and we always said funny things and had funny things." Now, like, you can be creative with that, but remember when everybody was playing this? Those were some pretty good times. Like, come on, that's just like the generic old guy response to everything. Like back in my day. Like, come on. Originality is so hard to come by these days. I mean, I'm looking at the bottom of the barrel of YouTube comments, but even still, you should have a little bit of originality. Hell, if I ever write a comment and if it isn't original, I scrap it. I don't even bother. I just scrap the thing. Like, originality is what that's what I feel like the YouTube creators are looking for, a creative and perspectives take on their stuff. Not just, "Oh man, you're remember back in the day when we could say stuff like this," or back in the glory days. Like, that's not God, unless you're like an idiot who your point of your video was back in the day, this was some cool stuff. Like, I just don't get what you're trying to say, amigo. I just do not get it. And then there's some stuff with the comments and all that jazz where sometimes I listen to Japanese videos and there's like English comments on the top, and I hate it because I'd rather look at a Japanese video or a German video and see a German or Japanese response on the top to make me feel like these guys are getting the replies that they want, you know, the perspective criticism or whatever, or, you know, insider like praise and stuff that they're looking for on the top. But instead I see these cringeworthy comments, especially this one which was like flat out bullying. In this Japanese song, this lady tried to sing English, but she didn't do it too well, I guess, and they were just flat out making fun of her. And it was on the top comment too. You know, maybe it's like jokey fun where like, "Haha, English, that's funny," even though it's not funny, you're making fun of somebody. But on the top it was like, she can't say like warning correctly or something like that. And I replied to that thing. I was like, "Man, you're freaking essentially bullying this lady. Like, come on. Let's see you try to pronounce all the Japanese things correctly, and let's see her make fun of your ass for not saying anything right." Like, come on. So the slightest bit of self-awareness would do people freaking justice these days. But nah, it's none. Instead, people get offended over the littlest stuff, but then they make fun of people who don't say things correctly. You know, they like proceed to not enforce, but portray that image that they're nothing but like a grammar Nazi loser who does nothing but correct people on the internet. And it just sucks. It just sucks. Like, if I were to make fun of somebody with a speech disability, not trying to compare to like learning a new language with speech, but anyway, they're similar enough where you can say it. Like a speech disability where they stutter or they can't pronounce like words because they can't form proper movements with their tongues. If I did that, or if anybody did that, they'll be considered like a terrible bully. But if it's like somebody who doesn't speak your language doing it, then it's funny. Like, I don't get it. Like, where do we draw the line? God. Maybe I'm just overreacting to that stuff, but it's still infuriating. Anyway, back to the point I was saying. I just hate that the top comment on that Japanese video was an English comment mentioning how her English sucks. That just sucks. I wish it would maybe, I don't know, be a Japanese comment about how her English sucks, or anything that's not like flat out I don't want to say stuff like this and like disincluding or something, but it just sucks that I kind of feel like whenever people are listening to Japanese videos, they just scroll in the comments, look for the first thing they can read and like it. That's how that, like, if they would actually pay attention to what they're saying, I don't think they'd like it, because it's just flat out like, it's bullying. But I'm on the side of bullying on YouTube is fine. But when it's something like a cultural boundary and stuff like that, it's kind of like weird. I kind of feel like we should make fun of ourselves instead of making fun of others. That leads me to another bit of things that, like, that very same situation where they don't really understand what they're doing. They hear one thing wrong, and then they proceed to like they listen to like a whole Japanese video, and then they hear one English word and say it's funny, or I understood this section. But this goes to another terrible, terrible thing I encountered. One time I was listening to a very great song, and I just scrolled on the comments because I was bored. Then I saw like a way too liked YouTube comment that was in English, and it was flat out insulting to read it. Like, the video was about, like, it had a lot of symbolism in it. Like, there was a giant monster, like, made of, like, rust and garbage and stuff like that. It was obviously symbolism for stuff, you know? And just the music video and animation, the lyrics, they're something else. But anyway, the music video had a lot of symbolism in it. But that flew over the head of somebody who just looked at the things and was an idiot. Like the symbolism just flew over their head. They said, "Oh, a giant monster," and it happens to be Japanese. This must be kaiju appreciation and stuff like that. And I was like watching the music video while I was reading that comment. I was like, this guy's absolutely insane. Like, and all the comments are supported, like, yeah, that's right. And I go like, what? This is not kaiju appreciation. This is what they call symbolism. This guy clearly hasn't even been to one bit of like a third grade English class, or like writing or whatever they call it in Europe. To take in a story, some things that you look are not always as they seem. A giant monster made of rust and some stuff like that. They might not be a giant monster made of rust, but maybe an interpretation of someone's problems, you know? Or an interpretation, you know, it's freaking symbolism 101. But it just flew over the head. Talking about, went off on a weeb, like, tangent of just nonsense. And it was the most insulting, stupid thing I've ever seen. And then, to go further onto interpretation, I was watching a YouTube video became recommended to me. I dislike, when I watched Steven Universe, I didn't really dislike it, but I never really got into it. And then like a YouTube video came up recommended, and it was like, oh man, how Steven Universe sucks. And I was like, you know, I'm kind of a sinless guy first, so I was like, yeah, let's see how it sucks, but without actually watching it. And I clicked the video, and then, you know, it was like, okay. But then out of nowhere, like left field, the guy starts bringing up My Little Pony stuff. And I'm just utterly confused because if I'm not mistaken, I believe Steven Universe is made for an audience that are like maybe going through their pre-teens, like late teens or whatever. And My Little Pony's targeted towards little kids, more specifically probably little girls, like from 5 to 12 maybe. Like, I just don't understand. Like, you couldn't have found a better example of, it was like about character like writing or something. And I mean, I got so much flack from me stopping that video there because he was trying to make a comparative point and or whatever. I don't know. I forget it. Just as I said last video, guilty by association, sort of. And that's exactly how I feel about it. Because, you know, like the My Little Pony community is kind of out there. It has a history of being out there for a long time now. And I stopped taking the video seriously as soon as I heard that. Yeah, I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, but oh man, an opinion not taken seriously as soon as they start bringing up stuff like My Little Pony. But like, we've all been through like the period where the only thing we thought of when we heard My Little Pony was a bunch of fat guys watching it because their character development's too good and stuff, and having like pony avatars and stuff, and it was all kind of weird because they were very old and weird stuff like that. And then like, yeah, I know that you might have like daughters and you watch it for them, or like daughters or sons, you know, and you watch it for them because they like the show. But these guys went out of their way to praise the writing and stuff like that. Like, oh, okay, praising the writing's not bad, but they're trying to make it out like it's like this thing to be compared with like adult writing and stuff like that. But it's made for kids, you know. Like you could say, oh man, this is one of the best written kids shows I've ever seen. But you got to say kids shows. They say this is the best written show I've ever seen, which is kind of very, you know it. I'm not going to try to get into like all the like nitty gritty of that stuff. But no doubt I made a lot of enemies. But that's exactly why I kind of stopped watching that guy's video right there. All of that, like, oh, they take the lore too seriously and stuff like that. I really wasn't gonna watch a Steven Universe review that talks so much, like, kind of unnecessarily long about My Little Pony stuff. Yes, I can. I thought, okay, maybe he was just trying to make a comparative statement. I'll just sit through it, and everything's gonna be all right. And then I try to sit through it, and then later on he brings it up again, and then I halfway sit through, but then I just can't take it no more. I mean, it's just, you gotta find a better example than that. If you want the writing of a show to be taken seriously, probably don't use something like Mickey Mouse's freaking Clubhouse to do a comparative statement about it. You're just not. You're gonna like start turning away people who take more respect in that stuff. You don't take too much respect in My Little Pony. What the hell's wrong with you? Yes, I don't take too much respect in My Little Pony. Just like I don't take too much respect in Barney and all these other kids shows. Maybe I'm exaggerating their target demographic by saying, like, you know, Barney's kind of made for kids. Same with the Wiggles, like little kids, like you know, like young kids that are probably still in preschool. When My Little Pony's probably made for like early school girls, or you know, maybe I'm just like exaggerating or something. Like, I think a comparative thing, maybe this is out of line, but maybe a comparative thing to it might just be like something like Ben 10. But I think I'm probably wrong about that. What the heck am I talking about? Anyway, that video, I stopped watching it for that reason, and that's just a guilty by association thing. But then into the comments, like I said, I was getting freaking roasted that I didn't watch the that I didn't watch the rest of the video because all this My Little Pony stuff. I've always kind of been like that though, where if it just like relates to too many things that are bad, I stop watching it. You know, if somebody starts overly like apologizing for something ridiculous, like I don't know, saying, oh man, that guy had the totally right reason for like, I don't know, cheating on that chick or something, you know, you're gonna start going like, this guy's kind of weird. And then of course there's the power of social media when it comes to shutting things down too. And like I said, the power of YouTube commenters is actually something not to scoff at, because YouTube commenters put it into one of my well, I haven't really watched his new stuff, but one of my old favorite YouTubers ever, and that was Syndigo, who had Ryan McGee and Daniel Kyer in it. Unfortunately, Daniel Kyer ended his life, and then Ryan McGee and somebody else, I think like Matt something, moved on to do something called Super Mega. I was originally going to watch them, but then it seemed like I told you that pandering thing last time, it seemed like they were kind of trying to target like a teenage demographic, and you know, all the cussing and random like bleeding out and the animations and stuff kind of was weird. But then the like, from what I heard, they like the comments just believe them to be like very bad people now. And I read up on a lot of reports, and I don't really see what more they could have done. I guess they could have stopped working with the guy, but rough thing. Like I'm trying to say, I had a lot of appreciation for Ryan McGee, and I still do. And now he's leaving YouTube, and it breaks my heart for something that I feel like wasn't even much of his fault. Anyway, YouTube commenters canceling things, freaking mob mentality and stuff like that. I just don't know what to do anymore with the YouTube comment section. At least when there was bots, you could easily block them, And now it's all this other stuff. And more onto the comment side, I want to kind of talk about stream comments, because they're strange too. Like, I mentioned my displeasure with it a long time ago, not on this, but just in general, and that is, on larger streams, it just seems like unfiltered, like, emotion. Like, not even words, but, like, emotion. Whenever something cool happens, it's just a bunch of pog faces or whatever the hell that's popular this time, or like weird little emotes or something. Like the time for words are freaking not there, mainly because the flow of stuff is so rampant that you probably get your image across better by just posting like pictures and stuff. It just feels like, I want to use the word rampant degeneracy, because that's what it kind of feels like. And then like, oh man, it's very bad in the VTuber side, because I like previewed a couple of streams, and oh my god, it's like a constant flood of yippee, yay, or exclamation points, or W's, or whatever people want to use now. And I guess technically speaking, it's kind of like a calm crowd, where instead of hearing like people go like, yeah, you rock, instead it's just a bunch of like words and stuff that are so that just comment such like too much to really comprehend. I miss the simple days of streaming when there wasn't like 8 million people on it, and you could have like a kind, like comfortable discussion with your favorite streamer, instead of just kind of waiting for them to like look at the comments and then post something real quick, or wait when you think he's going to look at the comments and then post something real quick so that they can read it. It's I don't even know what to go on about stream. It's seriously, like I said, unfiltered like degeneracy or whatever, and it's so bad when it comes to esports too. Like I don't even know what's the purpose of streaming them with a chat at this point anyway. Nobody really says anything. I guess occasionally you get some questions being answered by the poll guys, but the questions are really like simple. Like, oh man, like, how do you feel like this guy's gonna do today? Or like, what do you think he's gonna do? It was weird. I mean, I haven't really watched a lot of esports, so I might just be completely wrong about that. But it just seems like the comment section altogether is useless. I've noticed something about like OnlyFans streams or something, where they stream and only the subscribers can talk, which is probably narrows the like stupidity a little bit, where it's only your paid fans can type on your comments. Man, ooh, that's kind of a terrible place to be in right there, man. If I ever have an OnlyFans stream, I might just sooner die. And before you go like, oh, he doesn't actually know what the term OnlyFans mean, I know what it means. It's where the people pay to see a lot of not safe for work content for them for their favorite streamers, and it's I'm talking about the work safe OnlyFans section, where it's where like everybody can see the stream, but only the subscribers can really talk in it, like talk in the chat. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the things you have to pay to see, your favorite streamer maybe take off a shoe or something weird. Let's I get into the weird dark side of the internet, like OnlyFans. I'd sooner die than ever be a part of that. But that's another weird thing. Whenever I boot up Twitch, I always get like a bunch of weird stuff on my front page. Because I happened to watch an Overwatch streamer one time, I get all these Overwatch streamer stuff. Some of them are very strange. And then for some weird reason, I don't know why it's on the top of my Twitch, but I get like bikini streamers. And I just don't know what I did to get that. Because all I did was kind of watch game streams. I didn't watch chicks chilling in a pool talking to their chat streams. But, that's you made the grave. You might as well just, swim in it, I guess. Because we're in a pool with bikini chicks. Hey! But I'd sooner die than ever go back to Twitch again. That's why I uninstalled it, because it seems like it's a bunch of degeneracy. that's untargeted. But then YouTube streams, it's kind of the same. Like I said with the VTuber things, I've only really seen examples on YouTube streams, but I know they stream on multiple sites. So Lord knows how it is on Twitch. Oh God. Well, that's just my disassociation with VTubers. Well, anyway, thank you so much for watching. This has been RPie in my somewhat unfocused talk about unfiltered degeneracy YouTube comments. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. It's been RPie, and this has been the conclusion of the Howard Half Hour.